Now, I didn't come up with this as a way to learn auto layout. This is an official guide from the team at Figma, but I'll show you where to get it, how to use it, and give you extra exercises for when you finished working through this. Let's go. Hey, I'm Pavan. I teach people how to get better at user interface design. I've been teaching in-person classes, and the place where students always get nervous is auto layout. They've heard about it as a tough concept to learn, and some have shied away from trying it out. So recently, I've been introducing it to students as early as possible. Having now designed so many screens for so many different apps and websites, trying to go back and show someone how to design without using auto layout is kind of impossible. In the real world, I never would design anything without using auto layout. So I figured, let's get everyone using it and understanding it as soon as they can so they can design like the pros do. So how do I teach students how to use it? Simple. I use the official learning guide from Figma. It's better to learn by doing than to try to learn by spending hours studying the theory and trying to remember what each different setting does. So let's jump right in. So when you duplicate the auto layout playground file, you'll see loads of instructions telling you what auto layout does, and then some exercises to work through. So I'm just going to hide all of those instruction slides and just work through the exercises with you. So the very first one is to make a button. So this is super simple. We've got a frame here called button, and inside we've just got the text object. And just by pressing Shift A, we can make it into an auto layout object. So the other way to do that is by clicking on the frame and over here pressing plus to add auto layout. And then you'll see once you've got auto layout set up, it automatically adjusts to the width of the child elements. So for this frame on the right, we can set this to say edit me to be a really long button, and you can see the frame adjusts to fit it. One more thing to point out, we don't have a rectangle setting the background. Because of the way auto layout works, we're just adding the auto layout property to a frame, and with frames we can already give them fills and strokes, so we don't need extra layers to do that. That just keeps our layers panel clean. So the next exercise, and I'm just hitting Shift N and N to navigate between frames here. The next exercise is making a nav bar, so just selecting all of these buttons and Shift A. And now we've got a group of buttons. And here we can see that we can very quickly and dynamically adjust the spacing between them just by finding this quick spacing option, which highlights pink. If we don't want to use this quick spacing option, you can see it's also adjusting it here, so we can just type in a number. And if we don't want to move our mouse all the way to the right, we can just click on the pink line and we can type in a number up here as well. So that's how to adjust the spacing between auto layout objects. The third exercise is showing you how easy it is to add extra items. If I just double click into one of these child items and press Command D, or if I undo that, I can also do Command C and Command V, you can see that the new list item automatically sits in place. And I can change the text here. And then very quickly, if I need to reorder things, I can just press up and down with my arrow keys, or I can click one of those items and slide it around. And because it's within an auto layout frame, it automatically snaps into place. The next exercise is showing us that we can override some auto layout properties in instances of components. So here we've got two instances, and you can see they're linked to a main component which has been deleted. But even though we can't adjust what's inside of them, we can still adjust some auto layout properties. Here we can change the padding. We could maybe set that bottom padding to 40, and the left padding to 24, and the right padding to 24. And even though this is an instance, we can still adjust those properties. We can also adjust resizing properties. I'm going to get onto resizing properties in a moment, so I won't show you this here. This exercise shows you how auto layout works with constraints. Now, constraints were in Figma a long time before auto layout, and they help you set how layers will resize. So this example is just showing you very quickly that we can adjust the size of this image and the length of the text, and as we do that, the card resizes. The top stays fixed and the bottom of it moves down. But if I undo these and I grab the whole frame, and instead of it being constrained to the top, I change the constraint to the bottom, now when I adjust the child objects of this card, you can see that it stays fixed to the bottom. Even if I resize this image from the bottom, it will still have the whole card fixed to the bottom because we've set that bottom constraint. So that can be quite useful. This next exercise is a similar example, and it's just showing you that as you resize this, we've set this text object to truncate. which is an option which was introduced at a similar time as auto layout. The way to find that option, if you can't see it here with the different text resizing options, is if we go to type settings, and under resizing there's a new fourth option for truncating text. So if we set that to truncate text and set this child object to fill the container, now you can see by resizing the other elements of this card, we get more and less truncation. This next exercise also talks about resizing, and because the child objects of this auto layout frame are all set to horizontally fill the container, as we adjust the size of the container, those objects will resize dynamically. This is a really powerful part of auto layout. As well as automatically setting the spacing between items and the padding around them, we can very quickly make things dynamically respond. So say we've changed the size of a sidebar in an app layout and we quickly need to move these cards to fit in that new space. Because we can very finely control how resizing happens, we don't have to spend a lot more time finally designing the specific sizes we need. This exercise is super simple, and you might have noticed that we've got directions for auto layout, so every auto layout frame can either be vertically stacking or horizontally stacking. You just change this to horizontal, you can see that now we have a nice horizontal stacking auto layout frame. So very useful for nav bars like this. The next example is just showing how we can change the spacing and the padding on the canvas. So we saw this before with the spacing, but padding we can also adjust very quickly on the canvas. If you want to change the top and bottom at the same time, if you hold down Option on a Mac or Alt on Windows, you can resize both of them together. And same with left and right, so you can very quickly make it equal on both sides. And similar to how with spacing, we can click and type in a number. It's the same with padding. If you click here, you can type in a number. And actually, if I hold Option and click, you can see I'm now affecting both of them. So that's similar to holding Option when dragging to dynamically set the padding. Holding Option and then clicking lets me set the padding of both by typing in a number. And we can adjust all these settings over here as well. One new thing which was released slightly later with auto layout, I think it came out with auto layout 3.0, is that we can now use negative spacing. So over here, I can just type in -24, or even on the canvas, I can dynamically drag, and then we get this lovely stacking of cards. One thing to point out is if you don't want the far right one to be stacked at the top, we can see here under card set, the one at the top of the list is at the bottom. If we want to change how that layer stacking works, we can go into advanced auto layout settings over here and change the canvas stacking to say first on top. And that will adjust it to more naturally fit with how we'd expect it to be in our layers panel. Now this next exercise demonstrates a super important auto layout setting. I use this all the time. If you see something and you're like, how would I even begin to do that with auto layout? It's probably because you need to use space between. So here in the auto layout advanced options, we can change the spacing mode from packed to space between. And what this means is for a packed auto layout frame, we're specifically setting how much spacing we want between items. But for a space between auto layout frame, it automatically adjusts to fill the space. So now as I adjust the size of this frame, you can see item 2 is always on the middle and item 3 is always at the bottom. The other thing this exercise is showing us is this dynamic alignment option over here in the auto layout part of the sidebar. So using this, we can quickly set things to be left aligned, right aligned. And if we change the spacing mode back to packed, we can then change the alignment to the corners or sides, or even have them center aligned in that auto layout frame. So this alignment tool is super useful, and the spacing between mode is also really useful. This next exercise is just showing that option I've already shown about canvas stacking, so just last on top, first on top. And this exercise is showing a really cool feature, again added a bit later on for auto layout, but completely indispensable now. I use this everywhere. I even use this when I'm just blocking out layout. So if I haven't worked out how to put things nicely in my auto layout frame, but I really would quickly want to try design ideas without taking auto layout off the frame, I just set objects to absolute position. And so with absolute position, it's this option up here. It's next to the dimensions and the position for a child object of an auto layout frame, and it looks like this. So clicking on this icon sets something to absolute position. And with that, we can now position it exactly how we want it, and it doesn't respect the auto layout flow. It breaks the directional constraints and the spacing and the padding, and you can just place something wherever you want. What's really interesting with this example is that frame which we just placed absolutely is itself an auto layout frame. So we can now change the numbers and see that this text automatically adjusts. The next few exercises are showing you more examples of absolute positioning, spacing and stacking order, and text baseline alignment. And the final few examples just show you how to combine all of these features to make a more complex card component. So what do you do once you've worked through these exercises? The answer is simple: put it into practice. Start identifying where you would use auto layout when constructing real layouts. To get you started, I'm going to give you a few more examples, and I won't walk through how to construct these individually, but I'll leave a file in the description so you can go and see how I've done it. If you found this video helpful, please press like below so other people can find it, and I'm releasing new videos each week, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any. Thanks so much for watching, see you on the next one.